Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, Shannon responds to Ray Lewis's comments following the weekend's national anthem demonstrations. Plus, with another major scandal to deal with, what's the future hold for college basketball? And does Dwayne Wade joining the Cavaliers tip the balance of power in the East? We've got a busy show today. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Many NFL players, coaches, and owners showed signs of solidarity on Sunday and Monday in response to President Trump saying players that protest the anthem should be fired or suspended. On Sunday, Ray Lewis was on the sidelines on both knees alongside Ravens players before their game in London. Ray talked about that last night. Let's take a listen.
Let's make sure you hear people saying, oh, he took a knee. I absolutely did not take a knee. I walked onto the ballot.
Hold on, let's be clear. When you say you hear people say.
You hear Shannon Sharpe going out there talking about I dropped on a knee and this is about, oh, I sat in the chair next to him and I said I would never do this and I still didn't do it. I'm watching young kids just confused. Everybody confused. Nobody don't know what they're talking about. What am I gonna do? If I'm gonna stand up, if I'm gonna grab hands, if I'm gonna interlock, what am I gonna do? So I walked away, JB, and I didn't drop on one knee in order to protest. Boom, I dropped on two knees, both knees, so I can simply honor God in the midst of chaos.
And Ray, hold on. So you are passionately making this point, which, by the way, you were very passionate in our production meeting as well. So put a little bit of context on this. The reason you mentioned Shannon, meaning Shannon Sharpe, your former teammate, why are you mentioning him? What does he have to do?
He goes out and tells somebody why he's so disappointed in me.
In you?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm 42 years old with 6 kids. I'm a grown man. So to be disappointed in me, it really sparked me. And now all of these people are going off his sound bites of how he's so shocked that I dropped on the knee to protest. Really? You got my phone number, brother. A friend picks up the cell phone and say, bro, what was your intention? What were you doing? You saw my mouth moving. I asked the Lord.
And your mouth moving was because?
Praying.
Shannon, what's your reaction?
First, I don't like that he called me by my entire government name, Shannon Sharpe. I think he could have just referenced Shannon and everyone would have known who he was talking about. Skip, I get why he's angry. Because when your friends offer the harshest critique of you, it hurts the most because they're closest to you. And I get why he's angry. He also has a very valid point. I could have called him and asked, Ray, what were you doing? But we have an early show. He's flying back from London. I can honestly say this. I'm not so sure. Had I even talked to him, I still would have said what I said. Because the optics of it and what he said, even though he says he was praying, and I take him at his word that he was praying, you mean to tell me you can't drop down on 2 knees beside Colin Kaepernick and still ask that God that you were asking to, as you mentioned, in that sea of chaos that was going on off of what President Trump said? I'm sure Colin Kaepernick would like prayers also. He would like someone to kneel down beside him and ask this God, this great and glorious God that we pray to, most of us, some of us pray to on a daily basis. You see, Skip, perception is not always reality, but the optics of it, given what he had said. Because when he first had, another thing, and you mentioned this, Ray, you got to be careful with social media because he kept saying what they said. They said Shannon Sharpe said. We know who those they are.
Yep, we do. Or we don't know, but go ahead.
Right. And the thing is that he's listening to what they said. The thing that hurts me the most is that I said what I said, Ray came back with his critique, and now we're talking about it, and we're still not talking about the issue at hand. We're talking about the anthem. And I've tried so hard, Skip, since I've become on this side of the equation, the media, I've always tried not to be a part of the story. And what I try to do is offer my opinion and say, this is what I believe, and I haven't wavered when it comes to Colin Kaepernick, his ability to play, and Colin Kaepernick and what he originally took the knee for. I have not wavered.
You have not.
And that's my only thing. Now, Ray and I somehow become subplots to an issue. Ray should have his opinion. I should have my opinion. But I should not have to offer a critique. I shouldn't have to come back and try to explain myself to what he said last night. He said what he said. I honestly believe, Skip, that Ray and I are trying to get to the same direction, the same destination. I just believe that we're taking different paths in order to get there. I also told Ray last night, we had a very heartfelt conversation, Skip, because I've known Ray Lewis for over 2 decades. I've seen him at a
point of order. Do you think you spoke to him before or after?
I spoke to him after.
After he taped that?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
You. All right.
And I did not hear what he said. They were calling, people called me, friends called me, friends of both of ours. Did you hear what Ray said? I said, no, I haven't heard it yet. I said, but people have informed me what he said. Are you upset? No, I'm not upset. My grandmother used to have a saying, Skip. She said, son, teeth and tongue will fall out. Your teeth bite your tongue mad at your teeth, and they might part ways. She said, but son, family and friends should never fall out. I'm never going to fall out with Ray Lewis. We disagree on this issue. We disagree with what Colin Kaepernick is doing. We disagree with how we should best go about it. But that's okay. We're going to remain friends, but we can agree to disagree. I'm not upset with Ray. I'm not finna go back and forth with Ray and try to offer what they call ether him for what he said. Shannon, what are you doing? I'm not here to defend what I do or don't do. That's not the issue. Shannon Sharpe is not the issue. Ray Lewis isn't the issue. The issue is what led Colin Kaepernick to originally take a knee. And that was the unarmed killing. That was the injustices that he sees in America. And people are going unpunished. That's why he took the knee. And anything other than that should be unacceptable. But we're talking about a flag, we're talking about an anthem, and we're talking about what he did or didn't do. And all I told him last night, I said, to Ray, the optics of it, or what you said on the show, and how outspoken you've been about kneeling, because the anthem and the flag mean so much to you. So you can understand how it looked to me, given what you had said, how it looked to me doing what you did. And I don't feel that, if Colin was in that very situation, I don't know, given your stance against him, if you would have kneeled down beside him on both knees or one knee. And that was my only point, Ray.
What was the tone of the conversation when you first said hello?
He was upset.
Yeah.
Calls went unanswered. And like I told him, I said, Ray, eventually you're going to pick. At first, he wouldn't accept any of my calls. Then we started texting.
Yep.
I said, man, I'm not finna sit here. I said, dude, you think I'm about to sit here? You talking about you 42? I'm damn near 50. You think I'm finna sit here and text you back and forth? I picked up the phone. And I think by the tone of my text, he got it like, okay, big bro upset. Let's hash this out. And I was like, Ray, I get that you're upset. I say, but as one of your I say, Ray, you're one of the few people that if you call Shannon Sharpe and say, bruh, I need you, I don't ask any questions. I say when. I don't say what you need. I don't say why you need it. When.
Fact.
That's it. So whatever we got going on, okay, I let him speak first. I say, I'm going to let you talk. I want you to voice your side of the equation. And then when you finish, let me have my say. We did that. Bro, I love you. I love you too. You're going to have to do your part tomorrow. I'm going to do my part tomorrow, and I'm going to move forward.
And it ended with what? That?
Bro, I love you.
Good.
Bro, you know I love you.
Beautiful.
I'm always gonna be in your corner. But before we got the phone, we disagree on this one.
So I appreciate the fact, by the way, I appreciate the fact that I get to do this show with you every day, because I love you as much as I think Ray does. We haven't been together that long, but that was a beautiful story you just told.
I appreciate it.
I realize that it makes you slightly uncomfortable that you have become part and parcel of this story. But from my perspective, you have, whether you like it or not, because you have become a profoundly powerful national voice on the Kaepernick issue, defending him and trying to continue to fight for what he's saying,
yes,
as opposed to what he's doing.
Right.
And you continue to fight for the message more than the form of the protest.
Correct.
Love it. Believe in it. Get it. Ray Lewis has been a profoundly powerful voice for the black community in many ways. And all of a sudden, he's at odds with many in the black community. And if you don't mind me bringing it up, I think there's a petition in Baltimore. Help me out with it.
Yes, there's a petition, and it has, I think, 20,000 as of early this morning to have his statue removed from in front of Raven Stadium. After all he's given to that community, Skip, at some point in time, we're going to have to be able to disagree. And he called me, and I could hear the pain, I could hear the anguish and the hurt, and he was almost in tears. He's like, Shay, do you understand how many death threats I've received? Do you understand that my family has received death threats, and I've had to turn this over to Baltimore PD? It shouldn't be that, Skip. Ray and I have a difference of opinions on how we should resolve this issue.
Okay.
But to have discourse, you can't be upset because one guy is not in your corner that you would want to do harm to him or his family. That's not what this is about. We should be able to have healthy dialogue. We should be able to disagree. And at the end of the day, I disagree with you, bro, but I understand, I respect your point of view. And to remove his statue, what did his statue have to do with anything? He has been very active in the Baltimore community.
Has he?
So I don't get that. You can be disappointed because he doesn't support the stance that you share with Colin Kaepernick. But it's going too far when you try to do, when you think about or you mention doing harm to him or his family. And that statue, well, if they try to remove that statue, let me tell you what's going to happen. There's two people that's going to make a lot of money. Construction companies that's taking it down and the sculptors that build it. Because when they take it down, I'm going to have two to put back up. So let's just leave the statue alone. Let's stick to the issue. Ray and Shannon are fine. We just disagree on the Colin Kaepernick situation.
Okay, let's go back to how all this began right here on Undisputed, because you took issue with Ray's roll in or stance on Steve Bisciotti, the Ravens owner, whether he would or wouldn't sign Colin Kaepernick, right?
Correct.
You guys locked horns.
Yes.
As brothers sometimes do. Mm-hmm. And I've told you this before, and I believe it with all my heart. You were as close to being a brother to him without biology,
yes,
right, than you are to your own brother Sterling.
When we played, we would talk 2, 3, 4 times a week, even when we were going to play on Sunday. Bro, you know I'm going to try to cook y'all. Shay, I'm going to have me 20 tackles and this. Okay, that's the type of relationship we had. And even when I retired and he played 7, 8 years after I did, I would still talk. Shay, what do you think about this? Shay, what do you think about that? So we have an unbelievable relationship. And I probably talk to him more than I talk to my own brother.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, when he went through his murder charge,
yes,
after that Super Bowl in Atlanta,
correct,
and you were in Baltimore, he moved in with you for a time?
He was going through what he was going through. I signed in April. He started going through what he was going through in the end of May. I was picking him up from his hotel. I said, bro, don't be paying that money. You're paying enough money for these defense attorneys. He moved into my basement. Wow. And so once that was over, we trained back and forth. And like I said, I seen him at his highest. He won Defensive Player of the Year that year. Later went on to win Super Bowl MVP. So I know Ray Lewis at his absolute lowest, but I've seen him at his absolute highest.
Got it. So back to the fateful day. You guys went at it on Undisputed on August the 1st. Ray did other shows here on Fox Sports 1, and then as he was leaving in the back seat of the car, being driven back to, I assume, his hotel here in West Los Angeles, he decided he needed to respond to the people responding to him via Twitter and a few texts that he had received. And so in the back seat, he decides to record and post a video.
Correct.
And this became the flashpoint of everything that's happened to date.
Correct.
And I don't have time to go through the whole thing, but he starts out, he says, how crazy is this? I'm just leaving the set at Fox, and I got all these texts and all this stuff about Colin Kaepernick and all this stuff, and he's just off the top of his head.
Right.
Pretty dangerous,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And he goes into how he's prayed and prayed for Colin Kaepernick. I applaud you for what you stand for, my brother. It's actually a message to Colin that I almost wished, upon further review, had been privately to Colin as opposed to going through the public to get to Colin, right?
Correct.
And he keeps saying, I got nothing against you, but it's time for you to speak out. Another flashpoint, because all those trying to help Colin have wanted him to make one more updated statement. Here's who I am, here's what I believe, and I am full force focused back on football.
Correct.
And he already released a statement saying, from this point forward, this is what, 2-3 months ago?
Correct.
No more protests from me, right?
Right.
I just want to play football. But that doesn't mean I don't believe in everything that I did. Okay. So here's the real flashpoint. This is 1:16 into this video. Ray Lewis says, talking about people encouraging you, leading you the right way or the wrong way, as in Twitter people. He says, all right, they'll lead you the right way and they'll stop encouraging you to participate in this nonsense. That's the operative word to me. The battles you're fighting, brother, the people have been fighting before you for many, many years. The next day, when we had Ray on, that was my question to Ray. I didn't make it a statement. I made it a question. Ray, I said, I'm just paraphrasing, but I said, nonsense? So you're going to dismiss everything Colin has fought for as nonsense?
Right.
As in, hey, young man, you can't have any impact here because people have fought this battle for years and years before you, and they've all, quote unquote, failed. I'm putting words in Ray's mouth, but that's kind of where that was headed, right? It's not nonsense to me. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm being naive. I'm pretty sure it's not nonsense to you.
Absolutely not.
I'm pretty sure that both of us agree that Colin Kaepernick has had some impact, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Has he not moved the needle?
Yes.
Has he not opened a few eyes and a few ears and maybe a couple of hearts?
The mere fact that, Skip, we're talking about him, and he's not playing professional football. So his platform is not what it once or what it would be had he been playing. But we're still talking about him. So clearly, he's had an impact.
Okay, so Ray concludes in this video of August the 1st, get back into our sanctuary, the football field. Quit worrying about all this nonsense, and don't worry about people judging you. They're going to judge you anyway, so he says, keep what you do to yourself. Don't do it publicly anymore. Well, this goes against everything you believe that Colin Kaepernick he's not only risked his job, it's pretty clear right now, he's lost his job.
Correct.
Over this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so, in the end, that's August 1st. The next day is August the 2nd, and you get a response from Colin's girlfriend, who posts, I think it was on Twitter, the Django Unchained picture of Ray and Bisciotti, arm in arm after, I think, the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
And then everything blows up from there because our friend John Wooten, who runs the Fritz Pollard Alliance, oversees the Rooney Rule, when he saw the Django Unchained, he said, I'm out.
Right.
And their point was they believed that they were this close with Steve Bisciotti to getting Colin Kaepernick signed in Baltimore, and that the Django Unchained tweet blew it all up. I don't know what to believe there. You have a view of that. I have a view of that.
Right.
But the point is, this is where it all went south for Ray, because now he's right in the crossfire of this, right?
And I told Ray, I said, Ray, the thing that people have a hard time understanding is that you were so outspoken for Colin publicly, but you're secretly behind the scenes working, trying to get him a job. So they said, like, hold on, wait a minute. You're saying this, you say what he's doing is nonsense. You say that there are better ways, and so many people have fought and died trying to protest this and get change. He should move on, but secretly behind the scenes, you're working to get him a job. You can understand, even for me, how that would seem like, you working behind the scenes trying to get him a job, but you say this publicly? So you can see how people would be confused. I was confused.
And obviously, we were all confused on Sunday morning here in Los Angeles when he appears to be kneeling, locking arms with the Ravens, and it appears hypocritical. Like, which is it, Ray? But he says, no, you missed the nuance here, which is, I was on two knees because I'm praying for these kids who are all confused, and I'm reaching for God. I'm trying to honor God in the midst of chaos. Okay, I get that, but it doesn't come across that way.
Correct.
The optics are not good.
Because you said the anthem and you said the flag because you had family and friends to fight for this country, and the flag and the anthem mean something to you. So you said you couldn't get down on the knee. Okay, even if you got down on two knees, Colin Kaepernick got down on a knee. So if they playing the anthem and the flag, would you not get down on two knees beside him and ask God to give him strength and guidance and to see him through this? Because Colin Kaepernick, I mean, we saw the the Sports Illustrated cover. The guy that started this movement is not on the cover. And they said, well, we're talking about this weekend. This weekend is because of Colin Kaepernick, because he's who was Donald Trump, President Trump was talking about. So how could he?
Nothing about the cover made a lot of sense to me.
Right. That was my thing. I said, Ray, the optics of it, given what you had said, and given what you were doing at that very moment, they didn't mesh. I say, but I still love you. I say, we still gonna be great friends. We're gonna be brothers. I say, well, we just see this one differently.
Yep.
We're trying to get to the same destination. We're in two different cars, and we're taking different directions.
Well, it's really disappointing that the fans are trying to get his statue taken down. There's over 28,000 signatures now. Forget the fact that Ray Lewis is a major part of the only reason why you're relevant as a winning franchise to begin with, but it's disappointing you'd be so blinded by hate and prejudice that you would allow that type of situation to happen after everything he's done for that community. But we'll see.
No mercy.
Many NFL players, coaches, and team owners showed solidarity Sunday and Monday in response to President Trump's comments that the NFL owners should fire or suspend players that protest the national anthem. Bryant Gumbel responded to President Trump's comments on HBO's Real Sports. Let's take a listen.
A quick thanks to the current occupant of the White House for energizing the social conscience of the modern American athlete. That occupant's weekend series of racist, churlish, and childish comments drew a variety of stunning rebukes and actions, which suggests jocks may finally be realizing that apathy won't cut it anymore, that in conjunction with their fame, they have important civic roles to play, especially now. Those of us who've long focused on the intersection of sports and society have often wondered what it would take for today's athletes to forsake the path of least resistance and actually stand for something. And now we know. Many suddenly seem not just willing, but also eager to follow in the giant footsteps of Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Bill Russell, Billie Jean King, Roberto Clemente, Arthur Ashe, and many others who courageously use their athletic platforms to challenge authority in the pursuit of justice. Back in their day, Bob Dylan famously said, "The times they are changing." And that's still true today, as is the sad reality that certain things haven't really changed at all.
Shannon, does Bryant Gumbel have a point?
He has a very good point. And the thing is, the days to stick to sports are over. Skip, it started, look, this goes back because we had actors. President Reagan was an actor. Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor. Jesse Ventura. We see Al Franken was a writer for Saturday Night Live, and now he's in the Senate. We see, and we saw a reality TV star become the most powerful figure in the world.
Yep.
No, and when he mentioned those names, we're talking about the 1960s, and we're talking about what was going on. So for us now, you have to have the perfect storm, and that's what you had then. You had athletes trying to say, hold on, even though I'm making a lot of money, I'm still black in America, and I'm treated differently than even the whites that's not making nearly as much. So I got a problem with this. Billie Jean King, she fought for equality. Why, because I'm a female, should I get treated differently than a male? Why should I make less if I'm doing the same job that a male's doing? Now we get guys, and we get President Trump and his rhetoric, I think is resonating with them because they see where he's trying to take it, and those athletes do not want to go back there. They know what it was like. They heard what it was like. They have moms, they have grandparents. They have an opportunity to read. And it says, we're not going back there. We're not going to allow you to take us back there. So we are. The days of sticking to sports because they're intertwined. And he made that abundantly clear, I think it was Friday or Saturday night, when he, as a politician, he talked about what was transpiring in the NFL. And I tweeted, can he please stick to politics? I go to politics to get away from sports. You see what I did there, Skip? Because everybody say, I'm going to get away from politics, so that's why I watch sport. So they are, Skip, and it's resonating because a lot of what's transpiring, if it doesn't directly, how does it affect LeBron when he's making $100 million? But LeBron realized everybody doesn't make $100 million. So there's going to be a large segment of people that's going to be affected by some of the policies that are being instituted. And as Jordan Sparks wrote on her hand, the powerful should speak up for the voiceless. The millionaires should speak up for the penniless. And that's when a society is at its absolute best. When there's caring, there's understanding, and we ask for equality, and we ask that everybody be judged fairly. Not anyone thinks they're better solely because I'm white, and solely because I'm a male and you're female. And so I applaud these young men that are using their platform. And what we've seen, Skip, they're called influencers. And I don't know when this dichotomy changed, maybe you can tell me. Because there was a time, once upon a time, average people sold products on television. But what they realized is that average people didn't want to be like other average people. They wanted to be like the guy that could dunk, or the guy that could throw a pass, or the guy that could run fast. And so these marketers and these endorsers, sponsors said, hold on, if I got Joe Namath, or if I got Roger Staubach, if I got this guy, what would happen? Lo and behold, they want to be like them. Not like the guy. I don't want to be like the guy across the street. He's a normal guy. He lives my day. I see him. That's the soap that Joe Montana used. That's the shoe Michael Jordan wears. That's the car that Tom Brady drives. So now they realize, hold on, if we can pitch products, and what we've seen from politicians, each politician try to get the biggest star they possibly can and parade them out there on stage with them. Oh, Tom Brady like him? Bill Belichick like him? LeBron James like her? Ta-da. So they're realizing their voice has weight, and they're using it for good.
For good. Bryant Gumbel, I first met right here in Los Angeles in 1976. I was working for the LA Times, and it assigned me to do a profile, for which I had to spend a good deal of time with Bryant Gumbel, on this young African-American sportscaster who was trailblazing, man. He was shattering the mold. He was breaking through. He was just a weekend sportscaster here in LA, locally, but he was flying every weekend to do national out of New York, and then flying back to do his local gig here, just on the weekends, weeknights, I should say, here in LA. And I really liked him because he was his own man. I know people have had different issues with him through the years, and I haven't been close to him through the years, but this really caught my eye, and then it caught my soul, because this is some powerful stuff. When he condemns the president's weekend comments as racist, churlish, and childish, it's pretty strong from Bryant. And I love the point, because I really believe in the point that these comments have helped inspire a lot of today's athletes to do something we haven't seen since the days. You have to go all the way back to the 60s to see, like, that's why I was so captivated in high school by Muhammad Ali. I put his poster up on my wall alongside Joe Namath, but it was because he was so fearless. And I knew how hard it was for him to speak out in the 60s against racism, any sort of social issues, the way he was treated or not treated. And all of a sudden, it took all these years, because, you know, I was the biggest Michael Jordan fan, but I knew in my heart of hearts, Michael was ducking and dodging all the big issues, the real issues, to protect his sneaker brand. And he was pretty out front of it. I'm not going to get involved in that. Okay? So now, all of a sudden, we have a new generation, and I've told you this twice before on this show, and I do believe it with all my heart and soul, that in the biggest picture, the current president of the United States will be great for the black community in America, because he is so outspoken in so many offensive ways, certainly to the black community, but many in the white community, that it has helped even reunite and refuel the black community against him. Well, that's not a bad thing. He might be a bad thing, but that's not a bad thing.
He is helpful because it's forced the black community to come together and fight against something. He's not good policy-wise.
No, but I'm just talking about
but
as inspiration. He is galvanized in ways I've never, again, I'm on the outside looking in, but I've never seen this before. I mean, we went through 2 terms of President Obama, and I never saw this kind of sort of firepower in the black community.
Because you know what happened, Skip? Here's a guy says, I'm making $8-10 million. And this man thinks I'm an SOB. So he thinks I'm no better than anybody. He thinks I'm no better than anybody. That he would call me. I'm a professional athlete. People pay big bucks to not only see me play, but they buy my jersey. And he thinks I'm an SOB because I'm protesting.
Okay, and this is wholly unscientific on my part, but I also believe that this current president of our great country has helped create some sympathy for the black community in some facets of the white community. Does that mean we've stamped out racism? Obviously not.
No.
And it's a major problem that will be ongoing facing this country.
Right.
But have we made a little bit of progress where some white people are sitting back, even if they voted for Donald Trump, and say, wait a second, what's going on here? Well, and then what happened over the weekend? I tried to tell you Monday, what hit me right between the eyes was, I remembered a week ago, Kenny Stills, Miami Dolphins, is reaching out to his brothers in the NFL. Hey, where did the protest go?
Right.
It's fading.
Right.
We can't just let it die.
Because we're dying down, but we see the most powerful guy ratcheting it up.
Yeah.
So that's not balancing out.
No, but when he ratcheted it all the way up to attack them directly in a speech in Huntsville, Alabama, and go all the way to SOBs,
right,
all of a sudden, the whole NFL, quote unquote, protested the president for either right or wrong reasons, but they did.
Yeah.
There was a show of force in the NFL that would not have been there without those remarks in Huntsville, Alabama.
This is a different generation, Skip. But when I was growing up, if somebody called you an SOB or mofo, you really fought them. Because I'm saying Mary Porter didn't raise no mofos.
Mary Porter, trust me, that operated in the white community as well as in the black.
Mary Porter ain't have no SOBs.
Right.
So now, so not only are you attacking them, you're attacking their parents.
You are.
Because they're saying you're the son of one.
I agree. Yeah.
Whoa, look, okay, if you want to say something about me, but now we already know in the black community, mom is sacred. Now, if you want to fight, Skip, your mama.
That's the ultimate.
Your mama, now I got to fight you. You left me no choice. So he left no choice, especially for a lot. Now, I don't, like I said, Skip, when you talk about, well, I can't relate because I'm not black, I don't know how the whites feel about that. But I'm telling you, in our community, you got a problem. Because you're not talking about me. You call it, you say I'm the son of one. Mm-hmm. So now, me and you know, we got to do something.
Well, Ryan Gumbel's right. We are living in different times, and a big part of that is because of the way that the president speaks. He has enabled other people to speak that way, because if he's the highest-ranking politician, leader of our great country, and he speaks that way, why can't I speak that way? That's why someone felt emboldened to call Mike Tomlin a no-good N-word the other day on their Facebook, where their face is and their occupation is, and everyone that is their friends and family can see what they're saying. It's a lot of hypocrisy. But what we have learned, though, is that it's still hard to talk about racism because Colin Kaepernick still doesn't have a job. So history repeats itself.
No mercy.
Next up, 10 people, including 4 assistant college basketball coaches from Arizona, Auburn, Oklahoma State, and USC, were charged yesterday in a federal corruption case. A 3-year FBI probe focused on coaches being paid tens of thousands of dollars to get potential NBA players to align themselves with certain sports agents, financial advisors, and apparel companies. The University of Louisville says they have been informed of their potential involvement in the investigation, and Rick Pitino responded by saying, quote, "These allegations come as a complete shock to me."
That's a laugher.
Skip, what does this mean for college basketball?
Allow me to frame all this by quoting the college basketball writer from USA Today and a college basketball writer from ESPN.com. USA Today's Dan Wolken writes this morning in USA Today, high-level college basketball was unmasked Tuesday as a magnet for corruption, bribery, and kickbacks. And he concludes, does Dan Wolken, the biggest charade in the history of college sports has now been shattered, along with careers and reputations and the illusion of amateurism that brought billions into college sports.
Yeah.
That's profound statements. And then Myron Medcalf on ESPN.com concludes, the sport of college basketball may never recover. Wow. My conclusion, the sport of college basketball will survive because it always has and it always will. And it will survive because of March Madness and office pools and so many people who don't even watch college basketball during the regular season who dive into the office pools because it's so much fun, because the less you know, the better you usually do in your office pool, right? And the beauty of March Madness is, if I can read off a few of the schools that have pulled off classic upsets, there's always a Bucknell or a Valpo or a George Mason or a Cleveland State or a Davidson or a Florida Gulf Coast or a Lehigh or a Hampton, remember Hampton over Iowa State, or a VCU or a Coppin State. There's always one of those,
And don't
right?
forget Princeton.
Princeton is a great one. Hey, we could probably name 10 more.
Yes.
They put themselves on the map in 2 hours in March Madness, right?
Yep.
So the sport will survive. Although everybody now, if I can borrow a word, I probably shouldn't use this word, but the word you use, woke, when it comes to the black community. Well, I just hope college basketball fans are now woke. College football fans, it's a little different over there, but I hope they understand that they're rooting for something that is one major cesspool. And I hope they understand that because the sport of college basketball, and to a certain extent college football, allowed the shoe companies just to take over the sport and run it and fund it, this happened. And if you can live with that, God bless. Again, do I root for, I root for my school, Vanderbilt. Bryce Drew's the coach there, and he once hit the shot of shots. Remember that beat Ole Miss at Valpo?
Yep.
Do I think my school's clean? I just can't believe it, because my school has to compete against a Bruce Pearl at Auburn. Remember when he was at Tennessee? He got busted.
Yep.
And now his assistant, Chuck Person, got busted in this sting operation, right? And yet, it brings me to Coach Pitino. Is it fair to say, I think Coach Pitino might be the most recognizable coach in America. I know it's Coach K, and I know it's Coach Cal, but Rick Pitino coached the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics and the Kentucky Wildcats and the Louisville Cardinals.
He's only been at
right?
he's only been at prominent franchises.
Woo. And you just know him. And you used to, during the U.S. Open, you were calling Ricky Fowler Slick Rick.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate Slick Rick.
Yeah, but
right?
he's slick for another reason.
I got it. So just to refresh memories quickly, back in 2010, Rick Pitino admitted to having had sex with the wife of Louisville's equipment manager, who then tried to get Pitino to sort of buy her off and keep her silent, and she went to prison for attempted extortion. 2015, the NCAA found that a Pitino assistant had arranged for parties in the first floor of the athletic dorm featuring strippers and escorts entertaining recruits and current players in the first floor of the dorm. And Rick Pitino said, I see and hear no evil. I don't know anything about it.
He had a brothel going on and he knew nothing.
What? In the first floor of a dorm? I know it's the athletic dorm, but you have ladies of the evening strolling across campus, I assume, to the dorm?
Well,
Really?
everybody had on sweatpants.
Oh,
they
had
been
on
dressed like
sweatpants.
college kids.
Maybe
we don't
they
know,
were.
Joy.
Yeah, they were camouflage, I guess. I don't know. But Rick Pitino, he got away with it with a 7-game suspension that he's had to serve. They had a postseason ban, that self-imposed postseason ban back in 2016. Okay, so now come these allegations, and the gist of it is that there's a top 5-star recruit named Brian Bowen, and Pitino tried to tell a Louisville radio station this is the luckiest thing that ever happened in his coaching career of 40 years, because Brian Bowen came to him and said, can I play for you, and paid for his recruiting trip to Louisville, according to Coach Pitino. And now we hear, they're now accused of, $100,000 got somehow funneled to the kid's family so that he would go to Louisville. Well, that's the end of Coach Pitino, right? That's,
ESPN has reported that
reported.
Rick Pitino is expecting to lose his job, and he's told his assistants that he is expected to lose his job.
So I don't know how he kept his job this long, but good.
So this
Yes.
is what finally got him.
It finally got him, and you're right. How did it come to this? How did it take this long?
But, yeah. All this is doing is revealing what most already knew about college basketball. Skip, this has been going. Danny Manning's father was on the staff at Kansas. Danny Manning leaves. Guess who else leaves, Skip? Michael Porter Jr. He was going to the University of Washington.
Yep.
Lorenzo Romar loses his job, goes to Missouri. Guess who also is going to the University of Missouri? The #1 recruit in the country. Missouri is not a basketball school. Heard they got a good journalism program down there. I don't know how true that is. You know Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt went to
Where did that come from?
No, I'm just saying. So it's a good school. I heard it had a good
No,
journalism.
it has a great school.
But Skip, This has been college basketball. You know why it's going to survive? It survived the Bayless scandal. You had a coach cover up a murder of one player of another. It survived the what do they call it?
Which one?
Arizona State and Tulane when they were throwing point fixing. When they throwing point shaving.
Yeah.
It survived. It survived that.
Yep. Northwestern had one also. Yep.
You don't think it's going to survive this because, as you mentioned, 30 million people going to sign up for those office pools. I went to Ohio State where I like this team uniform, and I got this team going to the Final Four. That's why it's going to survive. And guess what? Guess another reason. Because everybody that plays, for the most part, not everyone, but 95% of those guys that step on a college court think they're going to go play in the NBA. And unless you get an outlier like a Brandon Jennings that goes overseas, you got to go to college. And anytime you got shoe companies, and I want the biggest guy to, because if I get him in college, there's a good chance that when he goes to the NBA, he going to like the product. I'll just sweeten the offer because it's reported that Adidas had to sweeten their offer because another company came in and they were jacking the prices up. So if you want him, because we got a couple of other shoe companies, it's hard to believe that it's all Adidas. Adidas are the only one that want to sign college basketball players. Nobody else does. Skip. And these guys are having to make decisions as 17, 18-year-olds that grown men normally have to make. And because they have friends, and the shoe company goes to the friends, or they go to the college coach, or they go to the they go to the AAU coach, or they go to the high school coach. Well, I'm gonna give you a couple. Hey, if everybody else gonna make money, I need to get me some of this too. And that's what you have, Skip. This is nothing new. This goes, look, these top recruits, they know what they are. 5-star. And we got programs getting 3, 4 of these 5-star recruits. Don't nobody think that's suspicious. Now, I know a guy that signed 1 year, I had a former agent, he signed 6 #1 draft picks. They're like, hold on, that's never been done before. Now all of a sudden he landed in jail. But all these 5-star recruits goes to one school. Come on, man, y'all need to stop with this. They knew this was going on. The NCAA, and you know what? They said the FBI did not inform the NCAA this was going on because they knew they played a role and they just turned a blind eye. So we can't tell y'all.
Yeah, they don't want to self-police. They don't want to know what they know. You know, they don't want it to become public.
Kind of like the steroid scandals in baseball.
Kind of like it. It was.
Chick dig the long ball.
So to me, I can't believe that what's so unconstitutional continues to exist, the relationship between the NCAA and the NBA, that they force kids to go 1 year to college when clearly we've seen in the past, LeBron James was ready to play pro basketball because we saw him that first night in Sacramento when, I forget, he scored 20-something, right? I think he was pretty good right away, right? Did he need a year at Duke?
Free evaluation, Skip.
Yeah.
So I see you go. I see you go over
so
there.
They don't make as many mistakes in the draft because they get to see you for a year on a bigger stage.
No, it's free D-League. It's the same thing that's going on with college football.
But even if you eliminated that, if you let everybody go straight to college, if they so chose, and there'd be some tragic stories because some wouldn't make it, but would it eliminate the cesspool that is college basketball? No, they just go to the next level.
But see, you know what I have a problem with, Skip, is that they said, well, guys that try to come out early and they don't make it. Does every person that goes to Harvard Business School, do they make it?
Nope.
Do every person that go to a Mass General or med school, do they make it?
Yeah, but they're not making billions of dollars off of those kids.
That's my point. But I'm just saying, hold on, wait a minute.
Nobody's buying the Harvard Business School kid's jersey.
If that guy wants to leave early, that's the chance that he's taking.
It's America, man. Yeah.
Yeah, the First Amendment. I got freedom to leave.
It's very important that these kids not be given extra money for food, though, or be allowed to work.
Man, look here.
That's very, very important.
Well, I'm telling you now, if Savannah State would have had some money to give, I'm taking it. Because Mary Porter needed it. So the first person that bought Mary Porter refrigerator, I would have signed until that team came in and built a house around the refrigerator. Then I'm going there.
No mercy.
Dwayne Wade is reuniting with LeBron James in Cleveland. Reports say the 12-time All-Star will officially sign with the Cavs after he clears waivers later today. Wade reached a buyout agreement with the Bulls and expected to sign a 1-year deal for just over $2 million with Cleveland. He won 2 titles and went to 4 straight finals with LeBron in Miami. All right, Shannon.
Wait, are you sure you shouldn't go first on this one?
I'll go last. I'll save my comments for last. How much impact will Wade have in Cleveland?
More than he had going back to Miami.
Ooh.
Wade counted. What is that? Cuyahoga?
Cuyahoga. Yeah.
And we got Wade, so they overlap.
It doesn't really. It doesn't.
Don't worry
rhyme as
about
well.
it.
It's Dade County, Wade County. That's why that happened.
Y'all have days. The Wade by the Wade. Skip, I think it's going to help because clearly he's not the Dwayne Wade that averaged 30+ in the NBA Finals. He's not the 25, 5-5 guy anymore, Skip. We understand that.
Yep.
We also understand that he's not going to practice every practice. He's not going to play at every ball game.
No.
I think he played, 60 ball games last year? He'll probably be somewhere around that. He played under 30 minutes for the very first time in his career. But what he can do is provide some of that lack of scoring that you're going to lose by Isaiah Thomas not being there until maybe Christmas or early January. I believe he goes into the starting lineup. J.R. Smith comes off the bench. Now, we know J.R. Smith. He can start. He can come off the bench. He's been 6th man of the year, so he can fit that role. But what this does for Cleveland, Skip, is that it gives them depth. Because what we saw last year in the NBA Finals is that, let's just say for the sake of argument, Steph and KD and LeBron and Kyrie played to a draw. But it was the Iguodalas, it was the Livingstons, it was the Klay Thompsons, it was the Draymond Greens that gave them the push. So now you have someone, if LeBron is off the court, not only can he score for you, he can also initiate the offense. Because the problem was LeBron couldn't leave the court if they had a lead, and if he wasn't on, they couldn't dig into the lead if he wasn't on the court. So now you have a guy. I like this, Kip. They really have 2 starting fives that's going to possibly be coming off the bench. And that's gonna. I'm not worried about Boston. I mean, I've never seen anything like what's going on in the East, Skip. I really believe I can make a roster in the East. I really believe that, Skip. Because I've never seen anything like it. Because everybody. And what else? Where else can you get a player of Dwayne Wade's caliber for under $3 million? You can't. So for the bang for the buck and what he provides, LeBron knows him. Best friends. Knows where he likes the ball. No, oh, man. Woo! Get ready to the finals, LeBron. 8 in a row. 8 in a row.
I'll give you this about the Cleveland roster. It is extremely experienced, and it's really old. It's just getting older by the day.
It's okay.
It's okay. 15th year for Dwayne Wade, 15th year for LeBron James. That's
LeBron,
a lot of basketball.
But LeBron like he's the 8th year. He plays like it.
I'm going to have to give this up to you today. Anybody who knows me on the shows I've been on various networks, especially the old network, knows how big a believer I am in one Dwayne Wade. Beyond LeBron James, I'm a believer in Dwayne Wade. And even though he will turn 36 years of age in January, and even though I'm told his knees are basically bone on bone without much cartilage, you can remedy that if you go to Germany. Maybe he went to Germany, I don't know. But he's got knee issues.
They add a little something to that thing in Germany. They add a little something to it,
something.
put a little spin on that thing, Joy.
Whatever, yeah. They add some good things too.
Yeah.
Stem cells,
Yeah.
you know?
A little something. A little something in that thing.
But Kobe went to Germany, helped a little bit. Could help Dwayne a little bit. But he's still got rickety knees that come and they go.
Right.
And they were rickety in 2014 when my Spurs blew those Heat off the floor by a record margin in that finals in 5 games. But that detonated. I'm going to take my talents out of South Beach and I'm going home, right? That's what happened. But now Dwayne is reuniting with LeBron James, and I'm going to give this up to you today. I think it'll be really, really good for LeBron James on and off the floor.
Yes.
Dwayne taught LeBron a lot about how to win at this level, especially at the championship level, because Dwayne Wade is a natural-born winner. Everywhere he has gone, except last year in Chicago, good things have happened.
Right.
Good things happened at Marquette.
Got him to the Final Four, didn't he?
Yeah. He's just one of those guys. He's undersized. I don't think he's like 6'4.5", maybe 6'4"-ish. I don't know, but he plays big.
Yep.
And he became LeBron's big brother, his mentor, his better judgment. He had the capability. He was the only one who had the capability of saying, LeBron, time out, calm down, sit down, think this through. How about this? Maybe you should try that. He couldn't save him in the 2011 finals.
Against the
Yeah.
Stop bringing that up,
Well,
Skip.
I have to, because that was the
don't.
one time Dwayne couldn't save him from himself, because that was a meltdown. Biggest superstar meltdown I'd ever seen. But still, they won 2 rings together. Cannot take that away. And I believe that this retilts the East back toward Cleveland. I told you I thought Boston had the edge with Kyrie, and just because Dwayne is there as the conscience for LeBron James on and off the floor, I'm not sure how much Dwayne can add on the floor, but just because they have such a deep connection.
Yes.
So look at what he did last year. And I thought it would be good for Dwayne to go home. He went home to Chicago, obviously.
Right.
And I thought he was going to end it there, close it out in Jordan-esque fashion. Not that they're going to win a championship, but that he would have a nice last hurrah to his career. So what did he do? He averaged 18 points last year. Not bad, but it was the worst since his rookie year. He shot a career low 43%. Not too pretty. And he averaged a career lowest 4 assists a game. He played a career lowest 30 minutes a game. And guess what? He took 16 shots a game, which were the second on the Bulls to Jimmy Butler, who took only 17 a game. So look, Dwayne's still jacking it up and averaging 18 a game, worse since his rookie year. Well, that's not a good formula to fit in with the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I'm just figuring he will figure it out with LeBron.
The thing is, who else was going to take the shots? It was just basically he and Jimmy Butler. And he understands that LeBron, he'll be third on that pecking order because it's going to be LeBron and Kevin Love. And Ty Lue says.
And I don't know where Isaiah Thomas fits into this equation because I'm just not sure his hip is going to get right.
And even if it does, Skip, he's going to be so far behind. How do you integrate him into the offense, 2 months into the season? But the thing is, Skip, you have to lessen some of the load on LeBron. Not only did he play the most minutes on the Cavaliers, he played the most minutes in the NBA. Now, we saw no ill effects because he averaged 30 for the playoffs. He averaged a triple-double for the NBA Finals. So clearly, he can handle that workload. But we're trying to get another 5 years off. So what we're going to try and do, we're going to try to manage his minutes somewhere between 30 and 33. We're going to take about 4 to 5 minutes a game.
Are you now like part of the brain trust?
Yes.
You have input into the decision making?
Because we want another NBA title, Finals MVP, and we want another regular season MVP. And when we're done, we want the all-time leading scoring record. So we want all that. So we want to have this serious discussion about this Mount Rushmore. And then is he in the number 2 slot or is he in Georgia's spot?
Lord have mercy.
I'm just saying.
You've gone completely over the edge.
Skip.
All right, back to reality. You want to talk, we just talked about the true friendship between Shannon Sharpe and Ray Lewis. The even truer friendship to me is Dwayne Wade and LeBron James, because this is the shocker to me. I thought what happened in 2014, you were there in Miami.
I was.
I thought the bridge got burned all the way to the ground. Because it wasn't until the night before the I'm going home was announced in Sports Illustrated. It wasn't until the night before that LeBron James shockingly informs his best friend, Dwayne Wade, I'm out. You're leaving me? And guess why? Deuce. Guess why, Deuce? Guess why? Because LeBron decided he can't help me anymore. Knees are too shot. We just got blown off the floor by the Spurs, and I need more help.
I won't say that Pat Riley.
Well, he was.
He won't let me have my people around, I want my mom to be front and center.
All right, but you know and I know LeBron is all about how much help do I have, and I don't have enough here.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to go join forces with that kid Kyrie because he's a special young talent, and I think I got enough in Cleveland that I can still win the East.
Benedict Arnold.
Huh?
Benedict Arnold.
Well, that's what I thought Dwayne would say about LeBron.
No.
Well, yes, I did. And I know some people who are close with Dwayne, and they were all shocked that Dwayne didn't part ways. Now, Dwayne can be a pretty shrewd operator, and he knows that long term, he needs to continue to be aligned with LeBron for business purposes in his second career.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Do you believe LeBron fulfilled his obligation to the Miami Heat by playing 4 years? He didn't ask to be traded. Remember, he was a free agent. He doesn't have 2 years left on his contract with an option like a certain party.
Joy Taylor, at the very first big fan fest at American Airlines Arena, that fateful day, when the announcer sort of teed up LeBron and the announcer said, not one, and he said, LeBron jumped in, not two, not three, not 4, 5, 6, and he went all the way to not 7.
He's gone to 7 straight finals.
Oh, but what happened to
up.
Miami? So did he fulfill that obligation to the Miami Heat? Nope, he did not, and he left them in a lurch, and Pat Riley will never forgive LeBron James for that because all of a sudden, Pat Riley is stuck. And what did he have to do a few days later? He had to way overpay to keep Chris Bosh in Miami. Yep. He had to give him the max, right?
Yep. Good.
Good.
So you see what Bron does?
Yeah.
Bron, they call it Robin Hood. He makes sure everybody get their money.
Really?
Tristan got his money.
Yeah,
JR got his money.
Wait, Robin Hood gets his money too because he's never taken less than the max.
No. He played for way less than the max. First of all, if you were to play LeBron James, his value, they couldn't afford him in Cleveland. Okay, they couldn't afford him. I mean, only a handful of teams could afford him. The Clippers, Steve Ballmer, because he's worth about 20.
Could do what Tim Duncan did in San
Antonio.
No,
we're not doing
play
that.
For like $4 million a year, so you'd have extra cap money.
Nope.
So novel idea, but not for
LeBron.
LeBron.
No, because
so LeBron complains, I don't have enough help. I don't have enough help.
He thought about doing that, and then he saw that when he gave money back, the Heat were jacking up the ticket prices. He said, well, I'm giving up money, and you charging more, so that means I'm making less, you making more. That doesn't make sense to me, you know.
So let's hear from a real Miami Heat fan named Joy Taylor.
Let's hear. She's a Cleveland fan. Now,
no,
Come on, Joy.
No, I mean, I'm devastated. I really thought he was going to come back to Miami.
You know what? I did too.
There.
I did too. It would have been a nice story.
It would have been a nice story.
Yeah.
As a fan, it kills me. It was like getting punched in the stomach. It makes me sick.
Come here. Let me punch you.
I've got the feeling without you doing that. But, you know, as a broadcaster, I understand where he's coming from, and he has the right to do whatever he wants with his career. But speaking for Heat fans, it really sucks.
Look at the happiness. Look at that man's face. Look how happy he looks when he's with Bron.
Wait, is that from today? They already took that picture today?
No.
Oh, it's an old picture.
But I'm saying he's like, oh man.
Cleveland fans and Miami fans have a real rivalry, obviously.
Yeah.
So it stinks for Heat fans. It really does. But we love Wade, and was a part of every championship that the Heat have. Yeah. So, you know, it can't be good.
Now you know how Cleveland fans felt when he went down to Miami, huh?
Yes, but Mr. Sharpe.
No, we already got that when LeBron left.
Exactly.
Correct.
But Heat fans didn't have a problem with him going to Chicago. We all understood it. He sacrificed a lot for the Heat franchise and left a lot of money on the table.
So you understand this?
No, I do not. I do not approve. I do not approve.
So, big picture, I think LeBron James is going to have a rocky fall. At least, what do they open? October 17th? With the Isaiah thing up in the air, October, November, December.
Triple-dub.
I think it's going to be a rocky start.
Triple-dub.
LeBron James.
Triple-dub against the Celtics.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they win by 12.
Okay, we'll see about that. We may have a case on that one.
Yeah.
We just might. But I'm going to give you this. I think the edge goes back to LeBron because he got Dwayne back. How? I don't know.
LeBron and the Four Tops will be favored in the East.
The Four Tops?
Yeah.
And by the way, I wouldn't dismiss the Miami Heat's chances in the East.
Is LeBron,
they will be extra motivated.
Is LeBron and Wade coming back to play for the Heat? That's the only way they're getting out of the East.
So close. Wade's a winner, though, which is also the killer for me, because he really is.
What about Bron?
Wade's a winner.
Bron's gone along for some nice rides.
Don't do that, Skip.
To your point about him playing big, he has fourth most blocks all time as a guard. That's what he is.
LeBron, I mean, I can't even give y'all his number. He's gonna be the all-time leading scorer. He's gonna be top 10 in assists. He's gonna be top 10 in everything.
So LeBron's gonna be making like $25 million, and Dwayne's gonna be making $2 million. Wonder how that'll sit.
Chicago gave him 13, 14 to go away.
Okay, way to go.
Day for me.
No mercy.
Oddsmakers have now put Penn State running back Saquon Barkley as the favorite to win the Heisman. Barkley rushed for over 200 yards and added nearly 100 yards receiving in the win at Iowa on Saturday. Barkley is followed by Oklahoma quarterback Baker Mayfield and Oklahoma State's Mason Rudolph. We're joined by Fox college football analyst Joel Klatt. Welcome, Joel.
Good morning. How are you guys?
How are you?
Good.
Who is the front runner right now?
Okay, so I know that the odds would tell you it's Saquon Barkley, but I got to tell you, I'm a bit frustrated with all of this going on with Saquon Barkley, and let me tell you why. He's tremendous, and I don't want to take away from him, so I'm going to try not to. Saquon is the best back in America. He's explosive. He's exciting. He is a great player. He's tremendous. What he did against Iowa was phenomenal, really. All-purpose yards, well over 350 all-purpose yards. Great performance, okay? And now all of a sudden all the love is going towards him, and in much respect, deservedly so. Did you know that it wouldn't have been even the 5th best day in Christian McCaffrey's 2015 season? Where was the love for Christian McCaffrey? Because he was playing at 10 p.m. East Coast. So I just don't like the lack of consistency when it comes to the media and the coverage of college football. Listen, Barkley's been tremendous. I give you that. But the best player in college football for the most consistent team thus far has been Baker Mayfield. And I don't want to get away from that because they struggled a little bit at Baylor. I understand that. Mayfield was still tremendous. Think about what he's been doing this year. He lost a 1,500-yard wide receiver in D.D. Westbrook. He lost 2 1,000-yard running backs in Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon. And he's better. Ask Sam Darnold how hard it is to replace production on the outside because Darnold's forcing it, 7 interceptions, in large part due to the fact that he's missing some of those guys he was thrown to last year, like Juju Smith-Schuster. Mayfield is better. The guy set an NCAA record for pass efficiency a year ago. He's much better this year, 220-plus efficiency rating. Baker Mayfield right now has been the best player in college football to this point. I think Barkley is right behind him, and then behind him, I would say it's some mess of Rudolph, Darnold, Lamar Jackson, some combination of that, and I would throw in Rashad Penny from San Diego State. Get to know Rashad Penny. He's a great back.
Well, the thing is for me, I like Saquon Barkley early, but I thought the quarterback, because he played so well in the Rose Bowl, I thought he would play really well this year, and they would split the votes. And so I thought it's hard to have a very good teammate, you've been a very good teammate, and then have one of you guys win the Heisman because you split the votes, and then all of a sudden somebody sneaks in the back door. I'll agree with you. For him to go on the road and beat Ohio State in Ohio in the horseshoe the way that they did, it wasn't that, it was the last second and got kicked a walk-off field goal. They dominated Ohio State. Yeah. And Ohio State doesn't normally lose in that building, and especially to teams outside of the Big Ten. So it's special to what he's doing. Saquon Barkley can cement this. They play Michigan and Ohio State back-to-back weeks. You go out there and throw up 200 yards against both of those teams, now we're going to have a different...
Now we're talking.
We're having a different discussion, Skip, I think, sometime at the end of October, the beginning of November. If he goes out there, if he plays like he's playing right now, and he puts up those kind of numbers against those two teams, and they win the game, it's going to be hard to deny him because you're talking about two perennial powerhouses. Everybody knows what Michigan is. Everybody knows what Ohio State is. And for him to go out there and to do 211 like he did against Iowa, if he gets 150-plus and they win those games, Saquon Barkley is going to move to everybody. He's going to pole vault a lot of people.
You might be right. But right here, right now, I'm with Joel Clapp because Baker Mayfield had a bigger game at the Ohio State University than Saquon had at Iowa.
Yes.
Not to discount it, but Baker Mayfield went 27 of 35 at the Horseshoe for 386, 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. He's 13 touchdowns to 0 interceptions for the year. He is #1 in the nation in college quarterback QBR. I don't know how you can refute that.
Right.
But I'm here to tell you and to warn Baker Mayfield, I'm a University of Oklahoma fan. Young man, you're about to act your way out of the Heisman race. You're about to misbehave your way out of the Heisman race. I just don't like this, and I think a lot of old school, hardcore, college football loving Heisman voters are going to slowly but surely be turned off by the misbehavior, in their eyes, of one Baker Mayfield. We know what happened in the offseason for reasons I still don't quite get. He and his girlfriend managed to go to Fayetteville, Arkansas, which is the home University of Arkansas, and they have a crazy night out, and it seemed like he had a drink or two too many. And he gets into some incident, and the police come, and he tries to run, and he's lucky he didn't get killed because he got roughed up by the police. And he had to apologize his way out of that. And then we know after that dominating performance at The Ohio State, he takes the OU flag and plants it in midfield. Didn't actually stick it in the ground, but planted it on the O. And then at Baylor the other day, they get into a little pregame fracas, and he is caught on video saying to the Baylor Bears, and again, it's just trash talk, but again, we're talking about the Heisman Trophy here, and he says, yeah, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but you guys didn't, you forgot, I'm the daddy here, and I came here to spank you. Okay, that's fine, but he posted on his Instagram the night before when they got to Waco, Texas. He says, every time we play in somebody else's house, I try to get them to be as loud as possible, solely so I can hear the difference when the clock hits 0. And he hashtags it, the kid is in town. Okay, does he have some Johnny Manziel in him? You better believe he does. He has a lot of Johnny's game, except he has a much bigger arm than Johnny ever had. But I hope he doesn't have Johnny's self-destructing tendencies off the field. But I'm just saying that this pattern, the trash talk, it's just unbecoming of a Heisman candidate. It works better. You were an all-time great trash talker.
I was going to say, I know you go, no problem.
Okay, but you were not a college football quarterback at the University of Oklahoma trying to win a Heisman Trophy for which you were currently the front runner.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You might be right, but don't you think there's a problem with that? I mean, that is an on-field award. This is why I have such a hard time, even when it comes to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, when these writers, they sit in there and they hold a personal grudge or some off-the-field grudge. Yeah. I hate it. I can't stand it because that's not what you're basing the award off of. You might be right. If that's the case, Skip, those people that vote that way are being petty and immature, more immature than Baker Mayfield, because they would be denying something that is earned on the field. And I hope that's not the case. I really, and hopefully
these are the people who hang on to the concept of student athletes who go sit in the same classroom I sat in, and they are true to their school, and it's dear old you, and they're going to win one for the Gipper, and they don't love this because it's not college football.
I love it, Baker. You should have said, Daddy's home.
Yeah. Well, Daddy was home at the end of the day.
He wasn't calling the National Guard.
Yeah, exactly.
Not yet.
They provoked me, though.
Check out Joel and Gus on Saturday, Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. Thanks for joining us, Joel.
You bet.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.